The wind scraped across the dead plains like sandpaper, peeling dust from the bones of what used to be cities. Towering spires now leaned like broken fingers against the gray sky, and silence ruled where billions once lived. Lyra moved carefully. Through the wreckage, her boots crunching over glass and bone, her breathing steady behind the mask. Even the air had turned bitter. Above her, a strange ripple shimmered across the heavens. Not thunderclouds or storms, but gold. A faint, pulsing gold. It came once every decade, and every time it did, someone vanished. They said it started when the sky first changed. That was 30 years ago, before the fall, before the wars, before Earth's last cities became shadows of smoke and ash. Lyra had never known the world before. She only had the stories, and a name that meant nothing to anyone but her, Commander Cale Marlowe, her father. A ghost from a war no one remembered winning. The only man who walked into the golden sky and never returned. Until today. She saw him. Not clearly, just a shape, tall, cloaked, glowing faintly in the storm, standing at the edge of the broken highway before vanishing behind the wreckage. She chased him without thinking. Her breath caught. Her pulse raced. Her heart cracked with something between hope and fear. But when she reached the place he stood, there was nothing. Nothing but dust, silence, and a device. It pulsed in the rubble, small, metallic. Gold veins ran through it like blood beneath skin. She knelt, fingers trembling as she lifted it. The name etched on the underside stopped her breath. Cale Marlowe. She ran. She didn't know where else to go. The resistance. Base was hidden inside the husk of an old hydro plant, deep enough to avoid the scans of the patrolling drones. She banged on the metal door, panting. Gears whined, doors hissed. 2 guards leveled rifles. When they saw her, they lowered them with a mix of confusion and relief. "Lyra, you okay?" She shoved the device forward. "I need Revik, now." Revik was the only tech left who could read pre-fall systems. He lived in shadows, hunched over machines that barely worked, muttering to himself about patterns and echoes. He didn't look up when she burst in. "It's you," he said before she could speak. The storm changed. I felt it. She dropped the device on his table. "Tell me what this is." His eyes widened. He didn't touch it, just stared, like it might explode. "Where did you find this?" "Where I saw him." He finally looked at her, something in his face softening. "Him?" "My father." That broke him. He laughed once, bitter, then silent. "You didn't see your father, Lyra. Cale Marlowe died 30 years ago. He died to save us." She didn't speak, just stared at the device. Revik sighed, pulled a tool from his belt, and started working. The device opened with a soft click. Lights flickered, symbols danced in the air, not just Earth tech, but something older, alien. A voice crackled through the static, broken, distant. "Lyra, if this reaches you, I'm alive. I found a way. They're coming. The gate. Under the ocean, 6 days, before it opens again." The recording ended. Revik looked at her. "That's not a message. That's a beacon. It's counting down." "To what?" He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped back, staring at the gold pulse now spreading across the ceiling from the device. Something's waking up. The lights in the base flickered. Outside, the wind stopped. And then the sky screamed. A deep, bone-chilling hum vibrated through the air as if the planet itself was groaning. Revik ran to the monitors. "We've got movement." "What kind?" He didn't respond at first. Just stared. Golden machines, hovering in formation. Thousands. No heat signatures. No life. Just light and motion. They were sweeping across the dead zones toward the hydro plant. Lyra clutched the device. Her voice was quiet. He said 6 days. Revik turned to her slowly. Then we've already lost one. The room shuddered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Sirens howled. The resistance scrambled, weapons drawn. No one had seen the sky turn gold in over a decade. No one had survived it either. And far above, hidden by golden light, something vast shifted, watching, waiting. Lyra closed her eyes. He promised he'd return, but she never imagined what he might bring with him. The ship broke apart mid-air like paper touched by flame. One moment it was there, a sleek, old-world craft trying to outrun the golden pulse spreading across the sky. And the next, it was gone. No sound, no fire, just disintegration, pieces drifting like ash as gravity forgot how to hold them. Lyra watched from the cliffside with the rest of the resistance crew, her knuckles white around the rail. That was their extraction route. Gone. Which meant the Golden War had already begun. They're not machines, Revik whispered beside her. Not really. Not like ours. She turned to him, eyes burning. Then what are they? He didn't answer, just stared at the widening glow across the clouds. The pulse wasn't random anymore. It was forming a spiral, tight, mathematical, alive. Something intelligent was shaping it. Something massive. And it wasn't hiding anymore. That night, the Resistance Council gathered in the hollowed-out auditorium beneath the base. Long. Tables, flickering lamps, old paper maps marked with drone patrols and ruins. Lyra stood before them holding her father's device like a relic from some forgotten god. "This is a countdown," she said. "And it's not just warning us, it's guiding us." He left a path. The generals shifted. Some scoffed. Some just looked tired. One, the oldest among them, leaned forward, his face wrapped in old scars and deeper regrets. He went into their gateway, General Brent said, voice cracked like dry earth. 30 years ago, piloting a hybrid starcraft built from their own tech. He destroyed the link and stopped the invasion. That's the story. That's what we tell people. But the truth is, he paused, looked at the map. We never saw what happened on the other side. Silence. Until Revik spoke. The pulse patterns matched the same energy signature from 30 years ago. But now it's accelerating. He didn't stop them. He slowed them. Lyra felt the room shift. Fear sank into the walls. "What does that mean?" one of the commanders asked. Revik turned to Lyra. "It means he bought us time, and now that time is running out." The countdown blinked from her device. 4 days left. They made their choice quickly. A team. One shuttle. A mission to reach the Atlantic Gate, the underwater site where her father's coordinates pointed. No time to spare. No time for diplomacy. Every second, the sky grew brighter, the golden pulse reaching into the soil, corrupting machines, reanimating husks of old satellites. Earth was becoming something else. The flight to the coast was chaos. Golden drones swarmed like hornets, scanning, analyzing, never firing. Yet, it was like they were waiting for something, watching, testing. When the shuttle finally dipped, below the black waves of the Atlantic, it was like stepping into a grave. The water churned unnaturally. Light bent in strange ways. Colors didn't behave. Even the ocean seemed infected by the golden presence. As they descended, structures emerged in the dark. Metal tendrils, impossible angles, remnants of something ancient. The gate was near. Then, they saw it, a sphere. Perfect. Silent. Hovering above a pit at the seabed. It pulsed with the exact rhythm of the countdown on Lyra's device. As they approached, her skin burned. Not pain, but pressure, like being measured. "It's reading her," Revik said. "The device, her blood." Lyra stepped forward in the pressure suit, eyes wide. "He keyed it to me, to make sure I'd find it." The moment her gloved hand touched the sphere, the world changed, a flash. white and gold. And then, she stood in a memory, but not hers. She was in a cockpit. Cold metal, stars warping around her. Her father's voice echoed. "Hold on, Lyra. I'll bring them peace." Then pain, then golden light, burning, screaming, devouring him, and something else. A voice, not human. A whisper that coiled through thought itself. "You carry his spark. You will open the gate. You are the bridge." She fell backward, gasping. Water flooded her helmet. Not real, just illusion, before the chamber restabilized. Revik pulled. Her upright. "What did you see?" She stared at the sphere. "He's alive." Behind them, the gate opened with a soundless tremor, revealing a long tunnel carved from alien matter. No lights, no sound, just a low hum. It called to her like a forgotten lullaby. As they moved into the tunnel, something slipped through the gate behind them, silent, formless, watching. Above the ocean, the sky flared with golden lightning. On the surface, satellites fell like stars. Power grids collapsed. Entire cities went dark. And far above them all, something vast moved in orbit. A shape that bent starlight, cloaked in gold. It had waited 30 years. Now it was coming home. The tunnel breathed. Not in any way Lyra understood. There was no air, no wind, no movement. But she felt it all the same. A presence in the walls. A rhythm beneath her feet. Like the very structure was alive, listening, remembering. The further they descended, the less things made sense. Their lights flickered not from lack of power, but from being overwhelmed. Time stuttered. Watches froze. Seconds repeated. Voices echoed before they were spoken. Revik kept muttering about frequency drift, temporal folding, and light forgetting how to travel straight. But Lyra wasn't afraid. She should have been. They were inside an alien structure, kilometers below the surface, following coordinates left by a man who hadn't aged in 30 years. But something in her bones, something in her blood, told her this was the right path. Her father had walked it before. Now it was her turn. They reached a chamber. Wide, domed, glowing faint gold. In the center hovered a second sphere, smaller than the gate but pulsing faster. Revik scanned it. His eyes went wide. "This isn't a machine," he whispered. It's a memory vault." Lyra stepped closer. Images shimmered in the air. Flickers of her father's face, his voice, his hands pulling at alien. Controls. He was younger, cleaner, less burdened. She watched as he piloted a hybrid craft into the sky, golden beams slicing across space, stars warping. Then darkness, then him, inside a golden dimension of shifting patterns and endless silence. The memory paused, the sphere's pulse slowed. Revik pointed at the images. He didn't die. He crossed over. "And now he's coming back," Lyra said. The floor beneath them shook, not violently, but with a sudden lurch, like something above had shifted its weight. Then the lights dimmed. The hum dropped a full octave. Revik's voice trembled. "Something's wrong. The golden ones." They came without warning. Figures of light and shadow, pouring from the tunnel behind them, silent and fluid. They didn't walk. They floated, shapes humanoid, but wrong. As if sculpted by someone who had only heard of humans in theory. No weapons, no eyes, just presence. Lyra backed toward the vault. "What do they want?" "They're not attacking," Revik said. "They're studying us." The golden figures formed a circle. One stepped forward. It raised a hand, and from its center a holographic field flared to life. Lyra gasped. Her father, not just an image, a full-body scan, suspended, eyes closed, wrapped in tendrils of gold and silver. Revik stepped closer. "That's a containment pod." "Where?" The figure reached out, and golden light burned across the air. Symbols, maps, coordinates, a location in orbit. A station. The gold ring. Revik's mouth fell open. They've been keeping him alive, studying him, feeding off the neural patterns he absorbed from their own dimension. He's not just alive. He's the source of this entire pulse. Lyra stared at the floating image. Her father looked peaceful, but something behind him twitched. A shadow, a deeper presence. "I think they're scared of him," she said. Revik turned. "What?" "They're not showing us this as a threat. They're asking for help." The chamber trembled again. Stronger this time, and in the far wall a seam opened, a platform rising from the floor. On it sat a device, sleek, black, lined with golden veins. Revik scanned it, and his face drained of color. "That's a neural key." Lyra didn't move. "What does it do?" "It's a choice. Plug this into the pod, and you either sever his connection permanently or amplify it. There's no undo." Above them, deep above the ocean, the sky turned fully gold. The clouds rippled outward in concentric waves. Satellites shattered in orbit. And something colossal, previously cloaked, now became visible to all. A vast ring-shaped vessel, pulsing with golden light, descending slowly from the upper atmosphere. The ring, resistance bases went dark. Communications ceased. The world stared up in silence, and then every screen, every broken speaker, every damaged satellite buzzed to life with a voice not heard in 3 decades. Lyra. It was him, clear, calm, familiar. "You've come far. I knew you would. But you need to listen to me now, because I'm not alone anymore." Behind the voice came another, deeper, hungrier, speaking in tones no human throat could form. "She is the last spark. If she chooses wrong, the sky will never turn blue again." The image of her father shimmered. His eyes opened, and he screamed. The scream didn't come through sound. It ripped through the chamber like a wave of pressure, cracking light, bending. Gravity, shoving Lyra to her knees. Revik collapsed beside her, clutching his skull as blood dripped from his ears. The golden constructs reeled, their bodies flickering, unstable, like reality itself couldn't hold them together anymore. But it was her father's face that shattered her. The man in the projection, Cale Marlowe, no longer looked like the hero from old memory fragments. His eyes were wrong, too wide, too bright, as if something inside him was trying to crawl out. His mouth twisted in silent agony, locked between 2 wills, his own and something ancient, something that had been watching through his skin for 30 years. Lyra staggered toward the vault, reaching out, breath shallow. "Dad," the image shifted. Golden veins writhed across his face. His voice came again, fractured, layered with another deeper tone. "Lyra." They lied. I didn't stop them. I let them in. The light snapped out, total black. And then a flash, brief and searing, revealed the truth. Another memory, not from her father but from the golden vault itself. Kyle standing in the heart of a dying city, long ago, hands glowing, eyes hollow, the golden sky above. A ship behind him, alien and vast, not descending, but awakening. And from his chest, a pulse of light surged outward, bending the world into silence. Cities fell, skies dimmed. The invasion didn't happen from above. It began with him. Thus, projection ended. Revik crawled to her, coughing blood. They used him, made him the beacon. That's why the pulse started 30 years ago. He didn't just go through the gate, he became it. Lyra's knees buckled. Then what's he now? Revik looked at the neural key. A door and a lock. If we use the key now, we can shut the pulse off. Kill the signal. Lyra touched the device. It pulsed with warmth. Familiar, almost comforting. Like it wanted her to trust it. But the golden figures around them had begun to fade. One by one, they were dissolving. Not retreating, but dying. Fading as though the core sustaining them was cracking. As if their time had finally ended. One of them turned to her before vanishing and reached out. It didn't speak. It just showed her. A final memory, pressed into her mind like a brand. Her father kneeling in a golden chamber, long before Earth burned, surrounded by alien lights, speaking, not with words but thoughts, pleading, offering himself. A deal made to save the planet. Spare them, he said. Take me instead. And the sky accepted. He became the tether, the bridge, the conduit, the seed planted in Earth's soil so they could one day return, not with fire, but with evolution. Lyra. Pulled back, breath ragged. Revik looked up from the failing control screen. 3 hours left. To what? The ring finishes descending. If it reaches ground zero while he's still linked, it'll rewrite everything, not destroy, convert, all life. She stared at the key. If we sever him? Revik hesitated. We lose him, forever, but we stop it. Silence, the kind that only comes right before the world changes. Then Lyra stood. She stepped toward the control node, placed the key in her hand, and hesitated. From the depths of the projection, Kale's voice rose again, not fractured, not layered. Just him. Bare. Tired. Lyra. I knew this would be your choice. I left the key for you. Not to stop me, but to free me. Please. I don't want to be what they've made me. But I can't fight them alone anymore. Tears blurred her vision. Come back to me, she whispered, and with trembling fingers, she slid the key into the port. Nothing happened. For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. Then, a pulse, violent, blinding. The golden light imploded. The chamber cracked. Revik screamed as arcs of energy tore through the walls. Lyra fell, shielded her head, and through the chaos, she saw the vault shatter into a million fragments of memory. But the scream was gone. In its place, silence. And from that silence, footsteps. She looked up, dazed, barely able to breathe. Stood in the ruin of the vault, real, solid, flesh and blood, Kyle Marlowe. His eyes locked on hers. His voice broke with exhaustion. You shouldn't have come. Before she could move, golden light erupted behind him, twisting into a humanoid shape, taller than any construct they'd seen, formed of fractured geometry and raw gravity. It didn't look like a savior. It looked like something that had just been unleashed. Lyra froze. The golden shape behind her father was wrong. It didn't shimmer like the others. It didn't float or flicker. It walked, heavy and slow, like a god relearning how to wear flesh. Its body bent the light, not just reflecting it, but consuming it. Each step rippled the broken chamber, warping metal, collapsing stone. The others had studied her. This one recognized her, and it hated what it saw. Kale turned, eyes wide with something Lyra had never seen in him before. Fear. He stepped between her and the entity, arms out, chest rising and falling with a breath that shook. No, he said. Not her. The thing paused, tilted its head, then spoke, not in sound, but straight into Lyra's mind. She severed the chain. She unbound the vessel. She ended the promise. Revik coughed behind them, crawling toward a console sparking gold and red. Lyra, we didn't. Free your father. We broke the balance. The golden entity took another step forward. The walls cracked and the chamber ceiling buckled under pressure from above. Somewhere in the distance, alarms screamed, muffled by the ocean's crushing silence. Kyle stumbled back. You said there would be time. You said if I brought her. Here! She chose wrong. Lyra stepped forward, trembling but unflinching. Then tell me what I was supposed to choose. Let you rewrite Earth? Turn us into what you are? The entity lowered its gaze. We offered survival. You chose memory. And then it raised its arm, and the walls tore open. The sea poured in. A violent roar swallowed the world as water surged into the vault, smashing consoles, pulling metal like paper. Lyra was yanked back by Kale's arm as he hit the emergency seal, but it was too late. Rivik was caught in the flood, slammed against the wall, vanishing in a vortex of black. Kale dragged her into the escape conduit, the walls shuddering around them. "We have to reach the relay station. It's the only way to warn the surface." Lyra stumbled beside him, gasping for breath. "You said I freed you." "You did, but I wasn't the only one trapped in that vault." They reached the upper lift just as the golden light below exploded upward, chasing them like a firestorm. The platform shot toward the surface, walls glowing red from pressure and heat. Lyra stared at her father. His face worn, gaunt, but alive, human, broken. "What was that thing?" He looked down. The first one. The true intelligence. Not a machine, not a being. A will. It waited in silence while I served as its voice. Now that I'm gone, it's finding its own. The lift breached the ocean. For a moment, all was calm. Then the sky turned gold again. But this time it bled. Long streaks of fire and plasma tore across the clouds. The ring in orbit had begun to descend, slow and deliberate, casting shadows over entire continents. Its core pulsed with a storm, something swirling within like a second heart. Kale turned to the emergency transmitter. "I can override the orbital controls, delay it, maybe even break the chain completely, but I'll need—" A sound cut him off. A whisper. Inside Lyra's head. Not her father's voice. Not the alien one. Her own voice, echoing back at her, but laced with something else. "You carry him now." The spark did not die. It passed. She staggered, clutching her chest. Something inside her moved. Not physical, not pain, but presence. A spark, a fragment. Kale's face dropped as he saw it. "No, no, no. They didn't just use me. They transferred it to you." She backed away. "What are you saying?" He reached for her. "You're the key now, Lyra. The gate listens to you." The clouds above swirled tighter. The pulse grew louder. Not just light now, sound, rhythms, voices, millions of them, speaking in unison, singing a future not yet born. Kale turned toward the sky. If the ring finishes descent, Earth becomes their cradle. But if you speak to it now, if you command it, they'll listen. Lyra stepped to the edge of the platform, eyes on the heavens. "I don't know what to say." "Then don't speak with words," Kyle said. "Speak with choice." Below them, the ocean cracked open as the golden entity rose from the sea, its form now vast, winged, divine. Cities across the world broadcast its arrival. The skies turned molten, and above them all, the ring stopped descending. It waited. One voice, one spark. Lyra's hand rose, trembling, unsure but steady. And at that moment, Earth itself held its breath. The air was too still. Lyra stood on the edge of the floating platform, the sky above her pulsing gold, the sea below boiling with light. Everything was waiting. The ring, the being rising from the ocean, the fractured network of satellites now listening for a single voice. But her throat was dry. Her thoughts were chaos. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a leader. She was just a daughter who had followed echoes of a man she barely remembered. Kyle stepped beside her, eyes locked on the golden storm above. "They built the ring as a cradle, not a weapon. It births what we command." "I don't know what I am," Lyra whispered. "I don't know what I've become." "You're what I was supposed to be," he said, "but stronger." The golden entity loomed just above the ocean's surface now, its body reshaping with every blink. 1,000 limbs became 2. wings folded inward. A crown of shifting light formed around a face that mimicked hers, her own features, drawn out of raw memory and mirrored through alien perception. "You are the final voice," it said. "Command, and it shall become." The ring responded, pulsing faster, each flare syncing with Lyra's heartbeat. Kale turned to her, the fear gone now, replaced by resolve. "You have 3 choices." She didn't answer, but he continued, voice flat, eyes locked on the storm. 1. Let it descend. The world changes. We become something else. Post-human. Rewritten by golden logic, evolution through submission, she flinched. "No." 2. You order it to stop. Sever the connection. The ring burns up. Earth stays human. But the cost? He didn't need to say it. She felt it. Inside her chest. The thing growing. The spark. Severing the ring wouldn't just end the signal. It would tear her apart. "And 3? She asked. He hesitated. "Merge," he said finally. "Fuse with the ring. Not as a conduit. As the will. You rewrite. Use the technology to fix Earth, not consume it. Lead it." She laughed bitterly. "That's not a choice, that's a throne. It's also a cage." The wind shifted. The golden entity moved closer, no longer hostile, curious now. Watching her, like a god unsure whether to kneel or strike. "You're scared," Lyra said, staring into its formless eyes. "You were never in control, were you? We guided. We did not lead. Because you couldn't. Because we waited. For you." The sky cracked open again, not with thunder, with memories, 1 billion lives. Her father's pain, Earth's burning cities, children born under false suns, broken machines whispering prayers in binary. And then, her, a child in a shelter dome, staring at the stars, hearing the hum behind silence. The pull that had never gone away. This was never about her father, it was about her. "I know my choice," Lyra said. Kale's voice broke. "Lyra." But she turned and smiled. Not at him, not at the entity, but at the sky itself. "I won't destroy Earth to save it. I won't surrender it either." She raised both hands. The spark in her chest ignited, not with fire, but with truth. "I choose us." The golden light erupted, this time from her. It burst through her chest in waves, shot through the air, and slammed into the ring above. The entire structure froze, every engine, every node, every AI silenced. It didn't fall. It didn't ascend. It waited, awaiting new code. A new will. Hers. The golden entity screamed, not in anger but release. It shattered into light, dissolving into 1,000,000 shards that rained over the sea like stardust. Kyle fell to his knees, shielding his eyes. "Lyra, you don't know." "What you're doing?" "Yes," she said. "I do." The ring turned silver. Its glow softened. It drifted higher into the sky, no longer descending, but orbiting like a moon reborn. Satellites flickered to life, networks reconnected. Across the planet, people stared up and saw a miracle instead of an invasion. But Lyra collapsed. Kyle caught her. Her skin was cold. Her breath shallow. "You can't hold it," he said. "It's too much." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I'm not holding it. I'm letting it go." The spark flared one final time and leapt from her body into the sky. The ring absorbed it, accepted it, then went silent. A peaceful silence. The sea calmed. The wind faded. Kale held her close, trembling. "Did I do it?" she asked. He nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yeah, you did." She smiled, and then the sky turned blue again for the first time in 30 years. But the peace didn't last long. In the silence, A distant sound emerged. Not from Earth, not from the ring, from beyond, a beacon, answering hers, and the stars began to move. The stars shifted like eyes opening. Lyra floated in the dark, no longer bound by the vault or sky or flesh. Her body had fallen, but her mind had become something else. Not a machine, not a god, just a voice among stars. The ring had taken the spark she gave, accepted her will, and sent it outward. Further than Earth, beyond the system, past the void. And something had answered. Cale stood alone on the platform. Lyra's body lay still beside him, a soft warmth still in her hand, like her soul hadn't gone far. He stared up at the sky, at the silver ring pulsing gently above like a heartbeat. But he could feel it, the tremor in the dark. Something coming, the world was healing. Already, signals from Earth were flooding in, cities powering back on, skies clearing, drones and satellites aligning under new code, her code. Rewritten not with conquest, but hope. No more forced evolution, no more golden obedience. But peace always invites an echo, and now the echo had found them. At first, it was just a flicker in the stars. Then more, whole constellations shifting, objects where there had been none, not descending, not attacking, just arriving, hundreds of them, silent vessels, shapes that defied geometry, each one pulsing with a signature, like the one Lyra had cast, but older, ancient, alien. Cale reached for the transmitter, his voice shaking. Lyra, if you can hear this, they're here. A whisper flowed through the air, too soft for sound, brushing against his thoughts, like a memory not quite his. I know. Cale turned. She wasn't standing, not breathing. But her body shimmered, faintly, a golden glow running through veins like circuits. Her eyes opened, not human, not alien, something in between. Calm, aware. They came because I called, she said, her voice layered, soft but resonant. You called them? Cale staggered back. You said no. You said we wouldn't surrender. I didn't call them to rule, Lyra said. I called them to witness. The sky was filled now. The ships hung like a silent council above Earth. Some were massive, larger than cities, others no bigger than a man's shadow. They did not speak. They simply waited. Kyle moved closer. What are they? The ones who left before us, she said. Long before Earth. Long before the Golden Code. Civilizations that chose to evolve differently. They heard the ring's signal. Heard mine. And now, she looked at the stars. Her voice cracked. They want to know if humanity is ready to stand beside them, not beneath. The ground rumbled, not from violence but from activation. The ring began to project something. Across every screen, every sky, a single symbol appeared. Not words, not math, a choice. A beacon. It asked one question. Do you want to join them? Kyle shook his head slowly. This changes everything. Lyra reached out, taking his hand, her fingers both warm and cold. It already has. A golden pulse spread from the ring, sending waves of data and light across Earth. Devices synced. DNA sequences shifted, everything connected. Not dominated, invited, not rewritten, unlocked. The golden sky faded and turned silver blue. Peace, real peace, washed over Earth for the first time in generations. But the ships remained. Watching, waiting. Are they going to stay? Kyle asked. Lyra nodded. Until we answer. And if we say no, they leave. And we're alone again, but free. And if we say yes? Lyra looked at the stars, a quiet smile on her lips. Then the stars open. Cale turned to her. And what about you? She looked down at her glowing hands, her flickering form. I'm not all here anymore. I gave too much, but I'll stay long enough to help Earth choose." She paused. "And after that, maybe I'll walk into the stars and never look back." He didn't speak. He just stood beside her as dawn broke. Real dawn, no pulse, no false light, just sun rising on a healed Earth. And high above, in the hush between stars, the vessels of the ancient ones watched, silent, hopeful, patient, waiting for humanity to decide if it would walk among gods or rise beyond them.